The rain came down in thin, silver sheets that morning, blurring the streets of the city like a watercolor painting. My umbrella had given up halfway to work, ribs twisted and useless. By the time I stumbled into the corner café, I was soaked to the bone and carrying the quiet kind of exhaustion only a long week can bring. The bell above the door chimed softly. Warmth hit me first, the kind that smells like roasted beans and freshly baked croissants. The second thing that hit me was her. Behind the counter stood a girl with cat ears. Not the cheap costume kind. These twitched naturally, reacting to every sound, flicking when she concentrated. Her hair was short and silver. Her eyes an impossible amber that seemed to shimmer when they met mine. She smiled, not the customer service kind but the real kind, warm and curious. "Rough morning?" she asked, her voice low and a little raspy, like velvet scraped against wood. I managed a nod. "You could say that." "Puffy. Strong." She laughed, a soft chime that melted something in my chest. Coming right up. I watched her move, precise, graceful, like every motion had rhythm. Steam rose from the machine as she poured the milk. Then she did something I didn't expect. With the tip of the milk pitcher, she drew a heart into the foam. "There," she said, sliding the cup across the counter. "Something to make the morning a little less cruel." I looked down. The tiny heart floated perfectly in the middle of the coffee. "You do this for everyone." Her tail swished once behind her. "Only for people who look like they need it." I didn't know what to say to that, so I sipped. It was the best coffee I'd ever had. The café became my refuge after that. Each morning, no matter how chaotic the city felt, I found myself drawn back to that little shop and to her. Mira, as I eventually learned her name. She wasn't like anyone I'd ever met. She had that quiet mischief only cats and dreamers share. When the place wasn't busy, she'd perch on a stool by the counter and tell me strange stories about the old district, where humans and beast kin like her once lived openly before moving underground. Thought she was joking. She'd grin at my disbelief, her fangs just barely peeking from her smile. "You humans always think everything you don't see stopped existing," she said once, lazily stirring her own cup. "We just stopped wanting to be found." There was something lonely in the way she said it. Something that made me want to reach across the counter and touch her hand. I didn't. Instead, I came back again the next morning. And the one after that. One evening, the rain returned, harsher, colder. The cafe lights glowed golden against the dark, and Mira was closing up when I pushed open the door. "You're late," she said, tail flicking playfully. "I was starting to think you'd forgotten me." "I couldn't," I said before thinking. She blinked, caught off guard. Then she smiled again, softer this time. "Coffee, please." She made it slow like always. When she handed it to me, there were two hearts this time, one inside the other. "What does that mean?" I asked, half smiling. Her eyes glinted. "It means you ask too many questions." But she didn't look away. And neither did I. We stayed like that for a moment, the air between us full of the hum of the espresso machine and the smell of rain-soaked pavement outside. I wanted to say something, anything, but the words tangled in my throat. That was when the lights flickered. Myra's ears twitched sharply. A deep, mechanical buzz echoed from outside, like static, distant but wrong. Her expression changed. Fear. She darted to the window and peered out. "They're here." "Who?" Her tail bristled. "Hunters." Before I could ask what that meant, she grabbed my wrist, her grip strong. "You shouldn't be here. They track energy signatures. You have to go." "I'm not leaving you." Her eyes flashed gold. "You don't understand. If they find me, it's over." Outside, dark figures moved through the rain. Too tall, too precise. Mira turned off the lights and pressed a finger to her lips. My heart pounded loud enough to drown out the thunder. We crouched behind the counter as footsteps echoed outside. A heavy knock rattled the door. "Open up," a voice commanded. Mechanical. Flat. Myra's breathing quickened. I could feel her trembling, though she tried to hide it. The knocking came again. Then silence. After what felt like hours, she finally exhaled. "They're gone," she whispered. "What was that?" I asked. She looked at me. Really looked like she was memorizing my face. "You shouldn't have seen this part of my world." She pulled away, ears drooping. "Tomorrow, don't come back, okay? Mira. Please." Her voice cracked. "You've been kind. Don't let them see you near me again." And then she was gone, slipping through the back door into the night. I didn't listen. The next morning I went back. Café was dark. Chairs stacked. Windows taped with paper. A small note sat where she used to stand. "Thank you for the mornings." That was all it said. Days passed. Weeks. The café stayed closed. I told myself I'd imagined everything. The ears, the tail, the hunters. Maybe it was just loneliness twisting reality. But then I found the charm. It was in my coat pocket. A tiny carved wooden cat holding a heart-shaped coffee cup. Months later I saw her again. Not in the city, but in the old train terminal. The one long abandoned after the underground lines collapsed. She was sitting on a bench, wearing a hood, her tail hidden but unmistakable. When she saw me, her eyes widened in disbelief. "You shouldn't be here," she said, though her voice trembled less this time. "I had to make sure you were real." For a long moment she just looked at me. Then slowly she smiled. "I shouldn't have drawn that first heart," she said quietly. "It made you remember me. I couldn't forget, even if I tried." Her ears tilted back, a soft pink rising in her cheeks. "Humans are strange." "Maybe," I said. "But we care." She stepped closer. The faint scent of coffee and rain surrounded her, familiar and haunting. "If I stay," she whispered, "they'll find me again." "I know. But if I go," she hesitated, then reached into her bag. "You'll forget the taste of my coffee." "I doubt that," I said, smiling. She pressed something into my hand. A small, heart-shaped bean pendant. "Then keep this. For the mornings we shared." And before I could answer, she turned and walked into the fog of the tunnels. Her silhouette fading, tail swaying once before disappearing completely. I still visit that corner every morning. A new café stands there now, bright and polished, but I can't bring myself to go in. Instead, I sit outside with my thermos, tracing the heart-shaped pendant between my fingers, waiting for the faint sound of a bell, for the soft laugh of the catgirl barista who once drew hearts in my coffee and left a mark I'll never forget. Because some loves aren't meant to last forever. But they leave a taste you can never wash away. End.